yesterday, Bart.
Well, I'll tell you what, the U.S. had a rough time. In fact, all the gymnasts had a rough time. I was talking with one of the Soviet athletes, Alexei Tikhonki. He told me that the landing surfaces, these new mats, are experimental mats. And he even admitted that I think it's maybe a bad experiment because the mats are terrible. Even the Soviet Union had difficulty dealing with them. It caused some injuries. In fact, a couple of guys, when they were landing off the high bar, actually their feet pierced through the vinyl surface and opened up the foam on these mats. So they're very, very bad. What happened to the Americans? They started on the vault. 3 of the Americans had trouble with these landing mats. They all fell on their vaults, on very easy vaults, ones that they just assumed they could do on any given day. I think that really rattled their confidence, and I don't believe they ever were able to generate any momentum after that.
Yuri Balabanov was one of the men that was injured for the Soviet Union, as was Dan Hayden on our United States team. But let's talk about the Soviets in today's individual all-around.
Well, I'll tell you, we have 3 really exciting Soviet athletes who are our leaders coming into this competition. Yuri Korolev, of course, who has been 2-time world champion, is outstanding. Artyomov, and my favorite is Mogilny. He's young, but I think he's actually the best. He's got a lot of competition from Artyomov and Korolev because they're the studs. They know how to compete in these big international events. But Mogilny's the best. If he can put it together today, he might surprise those guys.
Okay. Kathy Johnson, also a member of our 1984 Olympic team, won a bronze and a silver there. In light of what happened to our American team yesterday, with the individual all-around happening today, how important is it for us to do well?
Well, Charlie, it's not a do-or-die situation. However, it'd be very beneficial for the U.S. team to put our 3 strong men out on the floor and have a good showing tonight. It's a great opportunity for Charles Lakes, Bill Cahoy, and Dennis Hayden to compete tonight and show some good stuff. Charles Lakes, in particular, can be very competitive with our top athletes out on the floor tonight because he has the difficulty, so we should see some good things.
Okay, now our women come in on Thursday. They start competition. In fact, that the men did not do that well. Will it have any carryover effect as far as the women are concerned?
The men's performance won't have any effect on the women at all, except the fact that maybe it'll give them a little more incentive to make a good showing for the U.S.
Okay, and the competition is about to get underway. We start our first rotation tonight with the vault. And the young man you're looking at is Valenty Mogilny of the Soviet Union.
What a nice vault, too. Tremendous height and distance. Now, that was a laid-out Sukahara with a full twist. One small step on the landing, but a nice vault.
He had the second-best overall score in the team competition last night of 58.25. On this particular apparatus, the vault, he had a 9.55, which was not particularly high, but none of the gymnasts had a particularly high score in the vault last night.
Probably of all the events, vaulting was the lowest scoring.
So last night a 9.55, today a 9.60. Sophia Kroll, you're watching from East Germany. Born in Lubin, it's a small town near the northwestern part of Cottbus, which is southeast of Berlin, near the Polish border.
Oh, what a great vault. Now that was a double front with a 1.5 twist and a nice job on the landing. That's one of the most difficult vaults being done in the world today.
Sophia Kroll from Lubin in East Germany. Finished 5th in the all-around in the team competition yesterday, and on this particular apparatus had a 9.55. Today, he comes up with a 9.75. Sophia Kroll of East Germany. This is Yuri Korolev of the Soviet Union. His first routine in his attempt to win the all-around, he had the top score among the all-around competitors in the team competition. He averaged 9.7, and he's a 2-time world championship all-around title winner.
Just to stay on the Soviet national team for 4 years is a hard enough job, but to be 2-time world champion is incredible.
Look at this work. Reverse X from a one-arm giant to another reverse X. One of the best parts about his style as a gymnast is he never holds back. He's always doing all of the big skills in every routine. I think that's one of the reasons why he's one of my favorite champions, is because he's always going all out. Okay, there's his third release move. That's a straddled front for a Jaeger, named after the German gymnast Jaeger. And a beautiful layout double backflip. Great finish to a strong exercise.
Yuri Korolev of the Soviet Union, he's 23 years of age. And on the high bar, he comes up with a 9.80. United States, 21 years of age, from Newhall, California, scored a 9.35 on the vault yesterday. In the team competition, finished 10th, was the top American scorer, a score of 56.75.
Charlie had a good day. We talked about how he can be kind of hot and cold. Well, he was pretty hot yesterday. Okay. What a fantastic vault. Now, that was a double front in the pike position, but he only used one arm, which will make that vault score very, very well.
Lakes on the vault, a 9.60. Yesterday, a 9.35. So not a bad score for Charlie Lakes.
And a good start.
Li Shuyang of China working on the vault right now.
Now, that's a nice vault. Now, that was a laid-out Tsukahara off of one hand, which makes it more difficult. But the best part about that vault, not only was it high, but he had tremendous distance. And the judges are looking for a great deal of distance past the horse and, of course, a good landing.
He was tied for 17th in the team championships yesterday, 56.35 on the vault. He had a 9.45. Let's see what he gets tonight. Li Chongyang of the People's Republic of China. Team finished third. He gets a 9.45 on the vault. In the competition for the team yesterday, they won a bronze. So checking the standings after the first rotation, the Soviets own the top three spots, led by Yuri Korolev, with Valentin Mogilny second and Vladimir Artyomov third. Charlie Lakes of the United States is the top American right now. He's tied for seventh with Fu Lu Ming. And we'll be back with more gymnastics in the men's individual all-around competition in just a moment.
Last night, Yuri Korolev led the Soviets to the team gold in gymnastics, and tonight he tries to win a gold in the individual all-around. Born in Vladimir at 23, he is the only gymnast to win 2 world championships in the all-around. Here's our Goodwill profile.
My son, Alyosha, will be 3 soon, in August. My wife's name is Galina. Now she works here as a nurse in a bacteriology lab. When my son is 5 or 6, I'll take him to the gym and hand him over to a coach. Or if I can, I'll coach him myself. Even if he never goes far, I want him to be strong and healthy. He seems well coordinated already, but who knows what the future will bring. When I'm getting ready for a competition, at first I don't train at all. Galina and I usually go for a vacation in the south or somewhere outside of town around here to get away from the sporting world and the city. Then, as the competition comes up, I start easy, training once a day for 2 hours, and little by little increase the loads.
I found Yuri when he was in the 3rd grade, right at the start of the school year. He told me he had done gymnastics for a year. Then summer came and he went off to the country like everybody else, and that was why they kicked him out. So I decided to set up special, more interesting practices for him so he wouldn't drop out again. He enjoyed that, and it was then he fell in love with gymnastics. Sometime when he was in the 7th grade, I saw that he could be a good master of sport.
After the '81 championship, I had a string of bad luck in competitions. I had a series of small injuries, a jammed finger, problems with joints. But even small injuries can be a problem, and it seemed like I'd just get over one thing and something else would happen.
He had a series of poor showings. I told him he should pull himself together and use everything that was in him to prove that he was a world champion. And that quality of his, the way he grabs hold of victory and won't let it get away, came into play.
Sasha and I have been working together for 12 years. You might say we see more of each other than we do of our families. There are no barriers. All in all, his family and ours are like one family. I treasure the relationship. We understand each other without his putting any great or strict demands on me.
I've known athletes who can get excellent results by repeating something over and over. But for Yuri, it's enough to do it right once in practice to get the feel of it. And then in competition, he can use his willpower to do it again, just the right way. Others have to work enormously hard for the same thing. That's a golden trait for an athlete to have.
Well, you just had a look at the young man from Vladimir, which is a city with about 40 miles northeast of Moscow. Sits on the Miasma River, tributary of the Volga, and he finished with the highest score among all competitors in the team competition yesterday. He had a score of 58.45, and his name is Yuri Korolev. He's about to compete on the floor.
If you have to pick one event to say, what is Korolev's best event, I guess you'd have to say floor. Look at that mount. Nobody does it like that. That is a laid-out double backflip, and he landed standing straight up and down. Just perfect.
Scored a 9.80 on the floor exercise in the team competition yesterday.
So perfect and so clean.
Bart, the Soviets have such a great line, not only in floor exercise, but all the other events. Look at this.
Nice flares up to a pirouetting handstand. He's very cool. His whole demeanor is very confident and cool, and you get the impression when you see him perform that he's never, ever at all concerned about possibly missing. He's always in control.
Yuri Korolev, 23 years of age. He's married to a nurse. Her name's Galina, and a son, Alexei.
Okay, here's the last tumbling run. Look at that. Oh!
Had a little problem sticking the landing.
A laid-out double back as a dismount, which is so hard to do, and I think he was trying to stick it. He end-rotated it just a little bit too much.
But quite a performance. One of the top gymnasts in the Soviet Union, and was the top gymnast here in the team competition yesterday with a score of 58.45. You just saw him on the floor. Let's look at some of his routine once again.
Watch the work here. There's a tremendous amount of power in this back handspring. And the takeoff position is absolutely perfect. Arms reaching upward, his head goes back. Now notice his second flip actually is higher than his first flip. That's the trick on the layout double back flip. Nobody does it like that.
We talk about athletic ability. There he is, Yuri Korolev of the Soviet Union. Only gymnast to win 2 world championship all-around titles. He did it in 81 and 1985.
And Charlie, I'm sure he stung his ankles on that last pass, that layout double back at the end. There's a tremendous amount of force coming into that mat when you finish that exercise.
And he's checking that right ankle right now as we await the score. 9.8, 9.9, 9.6. One judge scored him a little low, and another 9.9, so he should come out with about a 9.8, 9.85.
9.8 average. Hey, Charlie, let's go over to parallel bars. There's something over there you just got to see.
McGillney, Valentin McGillney of the Soviet Union working on the parallel bars.
And where do you see this routine, Charlie? He has such amazing execution, beautiful form, nice line, plus all the difficulty in the world. Look at that giant swing right to the top.
Bart, look at the toe point. It's incredible.
He finished first in this event at the World Championships a year ago.
And you can see why. Look at that back toss, back toss. Here's the dismount, tuckable back. A little hop on the landing, but no deductions other than that. What an exercise.
Valentin McGillney, Soviet Union, 9.75 yesterday in the team competition on that event. You know, we talked a little bit yesterday, Bart, about the lack of enthusiasm from the crowd here at the Olympic Sports Complex. Tonight it seems to be a little more electric.
Let's look at the replay here on this tremendous extension. There's a trick called a Healy twirl. To a reverse stutz, nobody does it like that.
The final score in on McGillney, a 9.90. Let's check the standings at the end of 2 rotations here. The Soviets hold down the top 3 spots, while the top American is Charlie Lake. He's in 7th with Phil Cahoy in 8th.
These are the amazing
Specialties, the high bar. He scored a 9.55 yesterday, and again, that was relatively low for him.
On this event, though, Charlie can keep up with the best of them. He does all the difficulty, and he does it very nicely.
From Newhall, California, that's where he was born and raised.
Okay, 2 one-arm giant swings. So far, very nice. A reverse hecht. Okay, now usually Charlie does 2 reverse hecks in a row there. I don't know why he left one of them out.
Maybe he's added something new, huh? Toward the end of the routine.
Here we go. Good speed for the dismount. Ready. What triple? 1, 2, 3. Okay, and again, you can tell on the landing, as he planted his feet, they actually slipped out from underneath him. I know he would have stuck that had the mat been better.
Charlie Lakes.
Here's the inverted giant swing. Actually, I've seen Charlie do routines with more difficulty in them, but very few people do a triple as well as he does. Look at how high he is. Cowboy those legs. He's spotting the floor. Now watch, you're going to see his feet slip. See how it slipped forward?
The right foot.
That is the problem with the mats. I know he would have stuck that had the mats been better.
Do the judges take that into consideration? Are they looking at the equipment, or are they deducting points for that?
No, I'm sorry. A deduction is a deduction, and the judges don't consider that at all.
9-5-0, the score for Charlie Lakes on the high bar. Wang Chung-Sung of China working on the high bar.
He starts with a nice back stalder. Okay, now there's a one arm to a reverse X, and that was high. Very nicely done. Okay, now he's doing 2 one-arms to a Ginger. Also very well done. I'll tell you, the level of difficulty in this competition is amazing. These guys are doing all of the big tricks. Here he gets ready for the dismount. Okay, triple back, 1, 2, 3. A little short on the landing, but a clean exercise.
The high bar is one of Wang's best routines. You could just witness why. And it's also one of the most exciting routines in the sport of gymnastics.
He seems pretty casual about the whole thing, doesn't he?
He certainly does.
Now, this is unusual at the beginning. He starts from a dead hang and then casts up to a back uprise and then a back stalder. Now, watch the height on this release move. There's a one-arm reverse X. He has to be at least 3 or 4 feet above the bar just to make that skill. Now he goes back into one-arm giants. And now this is a back flip with a half twist regrasp called a Ginger. Beautiful extension in these inverted giant swings. Three giants getting ready for the dismount. There's a triple. 1, 2, the third one. He spots the floor, opens up just a hair early, and that's why he had to take a hop on the landing.
Wang Chung-Sung of China. And he comes up with a score of 9.70. 9.70 for Wang on the high bar. Now, this is Yuri Korolev. We've already seen him on the high bar. We had a 9.80. He also had a 9.80 on the floor. This is his third rotation. He's working the pommel horse.
And I think this is probably his weakest event. He's very clean. He has nice rhythm in the exercise. This is very good work here in the middle with a handstand pirouette and scissor down. But really, as a whole, looking at all 6 events, I think he doesn't have the difficulty necessary to compete with the top. But I tell you one thing, the best part about his style is he gives you no room for deduction. It's perfect form.
He certainly looks good. He's a great athlete, isn't he?
Notice the perfect toe point. Nice one pommel work. But he just doesn't have the long extension, the big swing that you'll see from some of the big swingers like Mogilny or Artyomov, or even Phil Cahoy from the United States. A little break in rhythm there, but that's a very nice move with a full pirouette, back down into scissors. He picks back up into his circles, travels to the end, and this leg-together dismount is a D move.
And he picks up his third straight 9.80. This one coming on the pommel horse. This is Vladimir Artyomov of the Soviet Union. Had the third best score in yesterday's team competition, a 57.90. He's working on the rings right now. A 9.60 was the score in the team competition. He's from Vladimir. That's the same hometown as teammate Korolev.
Okay, he's going to do his strength move right at the beginning. A kip to an iron cross. Very smooth work. It's called a whip it to a swing handstand. Here's another strength move, an inverted iron cross. And a whip it to an L. So smooth and so rhythmical. There's absolutely no deduction so far in this exercise. Perfect giant swings. right to the top. Laid out double back.
Oh, perfect.
He nailed that landing. I don't know what you're going to take off on that exercise.
The Soviets finished 1, 2, and 3 with Korolev, McGillney, and Artyomov, the young man you just saw on the rings. In the team competition, they had the best scores yesterday, and he was third.
And Artyomov knows how to play the game. In this type of competition, don't give the judges any room for error whatsoever. Notice the perfect form, perfect rhythm throughout the exercise. Very smooth on the press, handstand. That's got to be a hard one to balance. 45-degree angle. I never tried that one. But notice right to the top on the giant swings. Perfect leg form. This is the way to do it in these big international events. If you want to stay in the contention for the all-around title, is to just nail everything perfectly. Right here you can see he spots the floor. Going to plant those feet, and they're going nowhere.
He was second in the all-arounds at the Nationals, the World Championships last year. A 9.75 for that young man from Vladimir in the Soviet Union. After the third rotation, the Soviets still hold down the top 3 spots. The top American remains Charlie Lakes. He's 7th, while Phil Cahoy of the United States is 8th.
Why go to some fast food place?
Chung Yang of China, and after 3 rotations, he's tied for 10th. He's getting ready to work the floor exercise. This is a top event for Lee.
The Chinese typically have always had something extra special, like a special ingredient on floor, more like springs.
And who could forget Li Ning and Tong Fei from the Los Angeles Olympics? These guys can really get off the floor. Here's his mount. Oh, my gosh. That was a laid-out double backflip. I don't think I've ever seen one better done than that. Front step out to a double twist, but it was done so effortlessly.
It's just like they trot into the tumbling run.
We've talked about how bad the equipment has been here in this competition, but one piece of equipment that nobody's complaining about is the floor. This baby is springy.
Even though the rug doesn't look that good, right?
It's a little ugly, but it's very springy. There's an arabesque or a scale to show a balance requirement. And here's his last tumbling run. Double backflip. Oh, way over-rotated that. He completely blew that dismount. I think he just had too much juice. His coach got a kick out of it.
I know, I tell you. And this is his best event, right?
Let's take a look at the mount. This is unbelievable. Notice the second flip is higher than the first flip. Tremendous tumbling.
So the stumble cost him a little bit, probably. That's Lee Jung-yang. He's 18 years of age. And he comes up with a score of 9.35. Dennis Hayden has a twin brother, Dan. He's 3 minutes older, and he's getting ready to work the parallel bars. Now living in Tempe, Arizona.
Look at that giant swing. Fantastic work for Dennis. He is right on. You know, they had trouble earlier in the week getting used to these bouncy parallel bars. They've almost bounced them completely off of them sometimes, but he's really controlling it well here. Nice straddle up on one bar. So far, very good. Okay, a little sloppy on the stutz. Double back, make it.
Oh.
Put his hands down. That's going to kill him.
9.45 was his score on this apparatus in the team competition yesterday. Let's see what he comes up with today.
I'm afraid he's not going to have a very good score today, because when you touch out a dismount like that, that's a good half of a point deduction. And unfortunately, that's going to really nail him.
But he still winds up with a 9.50. Dennis Hayden of the United States. Yuri Korolev on the rings.
This is where he is very strong. Just like Artyomov, he's so solid in the handstand position that he's going to leave very little room for deductions. Whoop, a little wobbly there. Just as I said it, of course, he gets a little wobbly in the handstand. It's unusually shaky for him, but he does 2 straight moves in a row. Inverted iron cross and a giant swing to another one.
He had the top score in this event in the team competition yesterday. In fact, he was tied for first with a 9.75.
Nice work on a front giant swing. Okay, he's ready for the dismount. Nice landing on a layout double back.
Yuri Korolev, one of the top gymnasts of the Soviet Union. So Korolev comes up with a 9.80 on the rings.
You know, our next competitor is Charlie Lakes. He's always been plagued by inconsistencies. We asked him how he's changing that.
It started in the gym. It always starts in the gym. I started concentrating, really focusing in a lot more in the gym rather than waiting until I got to the competition. And that sort of prepared me a lot better. Besides just doing a lot of routines, you know. We did train very hard, many routines for the USA Championships, and continue with that for this competition also.
Charlie Lakes from Newhall, California. Now preparing to work on the floor exercise. Scored a 9.65 on the floor in the team competition yesterday.
Let's see how Charlie does. He has some very difficult work in this routine. Laid out double back. Okay, nice landing. So far, a great start. Now watch this pass. This is one of the most unique tumbling passes I've ever seen. 1 3/4 front somersault, round off, to an Arabian 1 3/4 front somersault. That's tough stuff.
And he's been so confident in this international meet.
We're very happy to see that for Charlie because, as we mentioned earlier, he has been very hot and cold, and it's nice to see that even under some awkward situations and less than perfect equipment here in the Soviet Union, he seems to be competing very well.
He's been consistent, and that's, I guess, the key.
Nice flexibility in a Y scale in the corner. And a tuck double back. He looked a little tired at the end of that exercise, but still, it's going to score very well.
Charlie Lakes, member of the national team for the past 3 years. We watched this routine once again.
Look at this tumbling run. He does 1 3/4 front. Now watch, he's going to bound up to a skill, a preparation skill called a round off. Now he's going to take off, do a half turn, 1 3/4 front flips again, and roll out. One of the hardest middle tumbling runs I've ever seen.
Checking the standings after 4 rotations, Soviets still hold down the top 3 spots, while Charlie Lakes of the United States has moved up to 6. Bill Cahoy from the United States is in a tie for 8th. And we'll be back with more individual all-around competition after this. Valentin McGillney of the Soviet Union working on one of his specialties, the pommel horse.
As I mentioned before, Charlie, this is my guy right here. If he is going to have a challenge in the all-around competition, he's going to do it by a great performance here. Look at this work on the end of the horse. That's called a Magyar spindle, named after Zoltan Magyar, but he never did it quite like this. Oh, no! There it goes, my guy. I cannot believe that just happened, Charlie. He was doing the most outrageous pommel horse routine I've ever seen and completely lost his balance.
And what is even more interesting as far as that story goes is yesterday he had the top score in the team competition on the pommel horse, a 9.90, and today he just blew it.
What a shame, because I noticed during the warm-up, actually, he was having trouble with that part of his exercise. But one thing typical of the Soviet gymnasts is that they never water down. They do all the big tricks every time. You can see he's crawling across the horse here, and it looked to me like he must have been leaning just a little too far back as he tried to travel back up to the pommel as he was headed for the end. Very unfortunate, because he'll finish the rest of this exercise, but that is a half a point deduction at least. The maximum score he could possibly expect would be 9.5.
9.90 was the score in the team competition on the pommel horse. We'll await a score right now. You're looking at the young man, 20 years of age. He attends Kemerovo State University, and that's up in the Ural Mountains. Began his gymnastics career back in 1975.
It's such a shame, Charlie, because he is such an outstanding gymnast. I'm really disappointed that actually he wasn't able to make a strong challenge here in the all-around.
9-4-0, so that's a very disappointing score for him after the 9-9 in the team competition. Korolev preparing for the vault. We've seen a lot of him tonight.
I tell you what, he's had a great competition. We talked right at the onset of the show that consistency is the name of the game. He has scored 9.8 in every event he's performed in tonight.
Yuri Korolev on the runway.
Wow!
Oh, did he stick it?
Perfect landing. Now that was a one-armed layout Tsukahara, and I know, and we saw on the floor exercise earlier, that he stung his ankles on one of his tumbling passes, but it sure looked like it didn't bother him there.
We saw, like you said, a 9.80 on the rings, a 9.8 on the floor. Yesterday, a 9.6 on the vault. This was one of his worst scores. He had the top score of all the participants in the team competition.
And I have always contended that he's not the best gymnast in the world, but nobody's going to outcompete him. Look at this. Perfect position in the air, excellent form, and he knows how to make those landings. When everybody's having trouble, he's going to nail them.
He's 23 years of age, married, has a son. And there's the scores for Mr. Yuri Korolev, 9.7, 9.9, 9.8 maybe?
Yep.
And a 9.7.
Would make an average of 9.75.
So it's about 15/100ths of a point better than yesterday, where he had a 9.60, but he comes out with a 9.75. Vladimir Artyomov, Soviet Union parallel bars, yesterday in the team competition, a 9.60 in this apparatus.
And the door is open for him here because Mogilny has made a major mistake on the pommel horse. He was about a half a point ahead of Artyomov. So if Artyomov nails this exercise, he's going to even the score and catch up with Mogilny for second spot. If not, go ahead.
Artyomov is a student of Vladimir Teachers Training Institute in the Soviet Union.
That press move he did was called a Manna. It was actually invented by a gymnast from the States named Bob Manna, who actually coached me on parallel bars for the first couple of years. What an exercise. There is a great routine. Two beautiful back tosses and a perfectly stuck double back.
And you're seeing the Soviet athletes at their best right now. They're sticking those dismounts. Fantastic, isn't it?
And that's what it takes in the all-around competition if you want to stay in contention.
Score for Artyomov, 9.9. One judge gave him a 10. It was a good routine. Wang Chong-sung of China. He's a student at Beijing Institute of Physical Education. Beijing, the capital of China. He's in his 5th rotation, and he's currently in 5th place. He's working the pommel horse.
He starts with loops, and look at this work. With perfect body line, he trails all the way across the horse and back. Now back up to the middle. Nice flare up to a handstand. Oh, good work on the scissors. Notice a great extension. Perfect form, excellent rhythm, and nice work, a full pirouette dismount. I've never seen that one done before.
Whole new team for China, and they're doing very well, right, Kathy?
Like the United States, they're rebuilding right now. And even though they've got a young, inexperienced team here, they've got a lot of standouts like this young man.
Wang Chong-sung of China. He's had 3 9.7s already today, except on the vault. Well, he had a 9.7 on every apparatus except the vault. He had a 9.6 there. Let's see what he scores here on the pommel horse.
Okay, another 9.7. You know, Charlie, I think the guy got ripped. He should have had at least a 9.8 or a 9.9.
And that's his 4th 9.7 of the day. So let's check the standings after 5 rotations. The Soviets still holding down the top 3 spots with Korolev, Mogilny, and Artyomov.
We'll return with more Turner Network Television Goodwill Games coverage after this from our local stations.
Rings. Had one of the best scores on this apparatus yesterday, a 9.75, which was tied for first.
Okay, he does a shoot to a handstand, and now he's doing an inverted cross, a whip it to an iron cross. It's really a shame that he had such a terrible fall off the pommel horse, because I know he'd be challenging now for the all-around championship with this exercise. Instead, he's hanging on to second place, barely above Artyomov.
And this is the young man you like. the gymnast of the future for the Soviet Union.
I really feel like he has everything that it takes to be the best gymnast in the world. Look at that execution. Perfect layout double back.
And he's really given us a show this evening. Valentin Mogilny, 20 years of age from the Soviet Union. He just completed his last rotation on the rings.
Oh, my. Why couldn't I be the coach?
I tell you, Kathy, I found out over the last few years that when the gymnast finishes the competition, they do get a kiss on the lips from their coach. I guess if you win a medal, you get a kiss. I just as soon have been fourth place.
Valentin Mogilny. Now, earlier, in his first two events, he had 9 nines on the parallel bar and the high bar. Here on the rings, he finishes with a 9.7. Now, this keeps him in second place behind countryman Yuri Korolev. Vladimir Artyomov on high bar. His final rotation, he's had a fantastic evening.
Nice work, one-arm giant swing. Okay, now here comes a combination of release moves. Reverse X, right to a ginger, okay? He was in a little bit close, but he did a great job at keeping the rhythm, getting back into giant swings. Beautiful extension. There's a stalder. Now he'll do a pirouette, pick up speed for his dismount, which is a full twisting double back, and a little hop on the landing. A little easier dismount than he did the day before, but I think he was very concerned about those slippery mats as well. Let's take a look at his inverted giant swing right there. Nice stalder. Just perfect line, perfect extension. 2 flips, 1 twist. He spots the landing. A little bit of a hop, but still a great exercise.
And a 9.80 the score for Vladimir Artyomov. He had a 9.75 on the high bar in the team competition. A 9.80 today. Sven Tepelt is from Leipzig, a city in the southern part of East Germany. He's in 7th place right now, 5/100ths of a point behind Charlie Lakes of the United States.
Look at this work. He does nice flares. He's traveling up the pommel, down the pommels, all the way to the end and back. That's very difficult stuff. He actually has pretty long arms. He has his hips way above the pommels on all of these back more moves. Okay, his scissors are a little bit weak there. And actually, the last half of this exercise is kind of weak, but the first half was fantastic. He's glad to be done.
21 years of age. Looks like a good one.
You know, Bart, I'm really surprised by him. He really kind of snuck into the standings. It shows a lot of talent, though.
Well, you can tell here on these flares, he has tremendous extension in his hips above the horse. Those pommels are about 5 inches off the horse, so he has to have tremendous clearance just to get over them.
Oh, yesterday on the parallel bars, he had a fantastic performance, and we'll wait his score right now. Sven Tepelt of East Germany, a 9.70. This is Charles Lakes, his final rotation of the evening. He'll be working on the rings.
Charlie has had a really great meet. I'm very pleased to see in this strong international field that Charlie has been able to keep up with the top of the pack here. There's a front lever, strength move at the beginning of his exercise.
This meet has to be a great confidence builder for him.
Absolutely, and of course he got off to a good start there with a double whippet to a piked whippet. This is not Charlie's best event, though, so I'm sure he'll be glad when this one's over with.
He's been so aggressive throughout this competition now.
Okay, a very nice full twisting double back and a good landing. Not a great exercise. You can tell that he doesn't have the line and the extension that the Soviet gymnasts have, but that comes with polish and a lot of years of experience on international competition standards. But Charlie had a great competition altogether.
Certainly did. He has a smile on his face. He finished as the top American in this individual all-around competition. He was the last man to qualify for the United States team at the Nationals that was sent here to the Goodwill Games, and he had the highest score of the Americans in the team competition yesterday, and he comes out with a big night tonight.
Notice in his handstand there, he's in good control, but he doesn't have a real strong line like you'll see from a Mogilny or from a Martiamov. But he's very explosive, and he does a very nice full twisting double back, and he knows how to land them. .930, the score for Charlie Lakes on the rings. Charlie Lakes, we talked about the importance of consistency in these international competitions. You had it all together, 12 for 12. You have to feel good about that.
Yeah, it's what I trained for the entire year, hitting 12 out of 12 events, and I was able to do it finally.
And we've talked about your change in attitude. What does it take for you to all of a sudden come in from being rather inconsistent to really nailing all these exercises in very important and significant competitions?
You have to want it, Bart. You have to want to be able to do everything in the gym that you have to get there.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
You just saw the interview with Charlie Lakes, the top American finisher. The Soviets started out the day owning the top 3 scores. They finished the day the same way. It's Korolev picking up the gold medal. You see him in the middle, McGillney, the silver, while Artyomov gets the bronze. Tomorrow, the individual apparatus finals. Top 8 from the team competition. On each apparatus, they'll perform for us in tomorrow's competition as we wrap up the men's.
Did perform in the team performances last night, but had such a disappointing performance, he did not make the field for the individual all-around, and that's why the United States, one of the reasons the United States did not finish better. The best U.S. performance, as you heard Charlie Neal tell you, was performed by about the apparatus.